gentlemen of the press, sorry for that delay there. To get started, I'm speaking for Kelly Craddock Campaign for Sheriff. As you know, there are some things that have been in the news lately, and while we were doing our press conference yesterday during his announcement for re-election, there were other things going on with the search warrant for the charges, which we have Drew Miller here, his attorney, who will speak to that, speaking for the campaign, and only for the campaign. Sheriff Craddock fully intends to be the next sheriff of Benton County. He fully intends to win this re-election and see these charges for what they really are, as a political stunt. His goal, as he mentioned yesterday, was strengthen the cyber crimes unit to protect our children. It was to also increase the accountability for the sheriff's office by putting body cameras on his patrol deputies, and to continue his community outreach that he started 3 years ago. He has done a great job. He's increased the professionalism for the Benton County Sheriff's Office, and he fully intends to do the same. He's not here today because he's in his office doing his job, which is what he was elected to do. To that point, with reference to all the things that are going on politically and with the courts, we're going to defer all of those questions and the statements for the legal matters to the attorney for the sheriff, which is this firm, Keith Miller, Butler, Snyder, and Pollock, and his attorney, Drew Miller. Drew?
Well, anytime that you have a allegation of criminal charges, you know, we get to this stage. An allegation is merely an allegation. We will state right now that Kelly's innocent of any criminal wrongdoing. You know, when this case started, this was an administrative matter. It continued to be an administrative matter. I've got to obviously tell my client that at this point, he can't speak about this until the investigation is concluded, and when the investigation is concluded, he'll be able to speak about it, specifically with regard to what he hasn't done. But until that point, I've got to instruct him that, you know, he can't answer questions from the press. He can't answer questions from mom and dad. He's just got to continue to do his job, and he's got to continue to let the police do their job. Obviously, you guys know from the affidavit, he's cooperated in the investigation. He cooperated in the administrative matter then, and he'll cooperate now. We don't want to lose focus on why we're here today, and why we're here today is because 2 employees filed a grievance where this allegation comes back up again. And we will let the grievance run its process too, and you guys have seen exactly what the grievance is about and what the issues are regarding those employees are about. And if the grievance committee decides that their conduct was honorable, so be it. We'll live with the decision. But knowing what the public knows about those 2, a lieutenant and a captain's conduct, I think it's anything but honorable, and I do not think that the public in Benton County wants police officers behaving like that. Again, that process will run its course, and if Kelly was wrong, so be it. I think in the end of the day, not only the grievance committee will support his decision, but the public will really realize what this was about, and it's just about them trying to shift the focus for what they did onto Kelly. And obviously that's happening. Eventually this will go away, and eventually people will deal with that conduct and deal with it in a manner that's appropriate.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We will have some time for questions. Again, just as Drew said, any legal questions, they'll be directed through Drew. The campaign will not speak of them. You can ask us 1,000 times. We just won't do it in respect for the process and what's going on. As for the campaign, we'll continue to say our message, and we'll stay on that message. Thank you.
From KNWA, despite the allegations and the ongoing investigation, how does Sheriff Craddock plan to run a successful campaign if he thinks he can do so?
I'll tell you, that's my job. And it's going to be harder because obviously I look at everything in the press and see what you guys are doing. Every other candidate gets to make a statement of what his plans are. None of you carried that yesterday because it was more fun to carry this, obviously.
We did carry it, yes.
Yeah, I saw your 2-part byline. That was we really appreciate it. It wasn't quite the 40 inches the other candidates were getting, but still it was there. Thank you.
We've never spoken with any additional candidates on camera, and this was the first time we spoke to Sheriff Craddock on camera, so I want to make that clear as well.
All right, thank you. So we are going to run the campaign. We're going to be very strong with it. We're going to go out. We're going to get the message out. We have plans for doing a lot of town hall meetings. Our goal is to do a lot of town hall breakfast sessions, so a lot of restaurants in the area are going to get a lot more business in the mornings throughout the county, and that's one of our goals, to get back out, to get the message out there. Anything else from the campaign?
Yeah, you got on Facebook yesterday, you guys said that he had made a decision about his campaign and his position as sheriff. What exactly does that mean? Can you elaborate on that?
There were questions whether or not he should resign or to that nature, and without a doubt, he is not going to resign. He's doing a great job as sheriff, and he's going to continue to do a great job as sheriff. Just like we said, he's in his office right now doing the job. So to put all those things to rest, there is no question he's going to resign, and there's no question whether or not we're going to run a great campaign and win this election.
And adding on to that, yesterday we spoke with Sheriff Craddock, and he told us that he felt this was these different allegations were just good timing when it came down to his re-election campaign. Can you guys comment on that?
Well, I mean, well, here we are, and so obviously the timing of the search warrant and the timing of the announcement leaves something to be desired. But more importantly, if you focus on an affidavit of probable cause that has been released, which is generally an unusual practice to release that immediately. Additionally, in all the circumstances regarding the investigation, it was concluded on October 13 when sheriff was interviewed and the individual involved was interviewed. So it doesn't start back and indicate that a search warrant was issued a month later. So normally when an investigation is happening and things are important, that search warrant probably should have been done a long time ago. If they would have simply asked Kelly for any information that they wanted, he would have given it to him. So it seems to be, the timing seems to be very odd. But again, the state police are going to do their investigation, and as much as I want to comment on the individual facts and tell you what we believe is true or not true, it's unfair to them for us to do that, and so we'll wait till they make a decision.
Sheriff Craddock said he's going to continue to run his own campaign and not really entertain any outside ideas. Is that what you guys hope he'll do as well?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
He claimed that this might be other candidates slinging mud in a sense, and he didn't want to participate. That he was going to run off of his campaign because he
Absolutely.
said you can't attack him in his professional life. You can attack him personally. Is that what this is?
That's what we feel. That's what we feel. And definitely, his message of increasing and strengthening the cyber crimes unit, having more accountability with the deputies, with the body cams for both evidence and also for accountability and transparency. That I think is a very strong message, and we'll stay on that message. That's the point: is to show the people of Benton County that we care about them. Not about the politics and not about all these things that are coming up. The important thing is that Kelly is the only candidate to say he is interested in the lives of the citizens of Benton County. He's the only one to say that. So that's our message, and that's the one that we're going to stick with.
Question about the body cam situation. I know that he spoke a few months ago about intending on purchasing a grant or getting a grant to purchase a body cam. Do you know where we are in the process of purchasing body cams for deputies at the Benton County Sheriff's Office?
I've got to tell you, I didn't hear very much of that because we have tractors going by here. I apologize. There are tractors.
Where is Sheriff Kelly Craddock on the process of getting those body cameras for the deputies he spoke about a few months ago? Where are we in the process of getting body cameras?
Again, as for the campaign, I can tell you what our ideas are, the actual paperwork process. That would be within the office, and I can't speak to internal operations. I'm not a deputy. I'm not one of the administrators. I'm one of the campaign managers.
Do you know how Sheriff Kelly Craddock will continue to run a successful sheriff's office despite multiple deputies making accusations and allegations against him? Because it seems as if everything is coming from the inside, and I want to question how he will run the sheriff's office if he has deputies calling him into question as a leader.
To that point, I can tell you I think he's a great leader. Every election that I've been a part of and seen in this county, 8 some odd years, you've always had somebody from the inside wanting to be that guy or wanting to help somebody be that guy so they can get promoted. I don't know to that extent. I'll tell you, Kelly Craddock is going to run a positive, issue-centered campaign, and that's what it's always going to be.
Sorry to interrupt. Not about the campaign, But as sheriff, how will he run the sheriff's office if multiple people within
Oh.
that department are making accusations and allegations against him?
One word: professionally. Any other
Would you
questions?
like to elaborate?
No.
When it comes to the leadership of Sheriff Craddock, how should the people of Benton County feel about with these allegations coming out, whether they're true or not, about this potential, the way he's treating people in his own department about this, whether people should still trust his leadership as a sheriff or not going forward into this election next year?
Very good question, and I think that's going to be decided on March the 1st, whether or not you can trust him or not. But that's also going to be what you're going to have to ask every other candidate. This one's got a proven record, and he's going to run on that record, plain and simple. 50 arrests because of the cyber crimes unit. The athletic director from the Fayetteville schools tries to come up and hook up with a 13-year-old girl. When he opens up that door, there's a Benton County sheriff waiting on him. That's what we're running on.
And when it comes to the recorded phone calls of him with the deputies that were involved, asking that person to alter records, what is your guys' response to that in terms of the campaign, in terms of what people should know about that going into this election?
That would be...
I think that's getting close to asking for a question that's about factual content of the allegations, and so at this time we can't answer that. We can't bootstrap it to a political question about, you know, what people will think or what people don't think. I mean, the facts are going to be the facts as they come out, and we'll deal with them after the investigation's concluded.
Yesterday, Sheriff Craddock told us he's fully cooperating. Can you give us any details as to what cooperating means?
Well, sure. From the standpoint that you have the affidavit, obviously he gave a statement to the police. Any questions that they have asked, he's answered. Anything that they have requested, he's given, and he'll continue to do so. So, again, that's why it's a little puzzling with regard to the search warrant and the necessity of it, particularly generally because the investigation had been going on, in theory, for now 30 days. All they had to do was pick up the phone and make contact with him or any of his administrative personnel, and they would have gotten the documents that were requested in the affidavit. It was a smooth process, but it didn't have to result in an affidavit, again, indicating this state police investigation, which is indicated in the grievances that have been filed. And so if we try to pay attention and stay focused on what happened, you got two deputies, or two officers, a lieutenant and a captain, who either did or didn't do something very inappropriate. And so what's happened is, in their grievance complaint, they focused on a state police investigation to get everybody unfocused on exactly what they did. And so if what they did was right, so be it. If it was wrong, which I think it was very wrong, not honorable, not representing the people of Benton County, then the grievance committee will uphold the sheriff's findings. And at the end of the day, that's what you'll have. That's what this is about. Anything regarding the investigation on that administrative matter was over in the middle of October, but yet a search warrant gets issued November 5th or 6th, or yesterday, whatever day that was. It doesn't seem righteous and it doesn't seem fair, but again, we can't comment on the content of the investigation until it's concluded, and then we'll make decisions that we need to make.
And what does it say that Sheriff Craddock was willing to launch a campaign in the middle of this?
Well, what it says to me is that he's not going to let politics dictate what he thinks is right and wrong, and so he's going to continue to represent the people of Benton County, and he's not going to let this essentially derail him when it's not true, it's not accurate, and he's innocent of any criminal wrongdoing.
Bill, this is a question for you. On the Facebook page for Craddock's campaign, it said that he has come to a decision about his campaign and his position. Yesterday, this was at 5:38. What decision was there between the 2:30 or the 1:30, press conference and 5:38?
I believe Channel 5 asked that question about 5 minutes ago. Sure. The decision was that he's going to continue doing the job. He's going to continue running for sheriff, and he'll be the next sheriff. He'll be reelected as sheriff again come March 1st.
Okay, thank you.
Tracy.
As Sheriff Craddock, is he concerned that he's lost the confidence of the men and women at the Benton County Sheriff's Office?
I can't speak to what's going on in the context of another person's brain. But I'll tell you right now, he's got my confidence. He's got the confidence of a lot of parents out there that say that he's the guy that's going to help them protect their children. I've got 2 daughters, and they're on the internet all the time. They're on their iPads and they're on the cell phones all the time. They're on Facebook. There's so many of those communication things out there now. I don't know what they're on half the time. But I'll tell you right now, I want a Kelly Craddock, strengthening up a cybercrimes unit, helping me with my children. And that's why I said I'm helping him with this campaign. I believe what's going through his mind is there's got to be somebody out there helping the people of Benton County, the people he cares about. And that's why I'm helping him. Hey guys, thank you very much. I know it's been an arduous time for you guys to come out, but thank you very much. If you have any other questions about the legal issues, odds are he's going to say no comment. So when you call up here, be ready for that. If there is something that he can share on the legal aspect, I'm sure he will. Kelly has nothing to hide. When it comes to the campaign, I will speak only to the campaign and nothing else. In respect for Kelly and the legal process, at the end we know he'll be vindicated, he'll be fine. The great thing about this is he's getting a lot of free press, and we appreciate that, guys.
Do you know if he will be able to answer questions today? I know he's fairly busy.
Questions
Definitely not about the
Not about the
investigation.
No.
I'll leave that up to Bill.
Yeah, when it comes to the campaign, please tweet me, text me, email me, or whatever, and I'll answer the campaign stuff. He is busy being sheriff, you know. There are people that are still trying to break the laws and abuse things here in Benton County, and we don't want him sitting around running around doing a campaign for 4 months when we're paying him to be the sheriff, and that's exactly what he's doing.
If he is defending his integrity, though, and trying to show off his character, why isn't he here then for a few minutes, for 15 minutes out of his day, to come and answer questions from the press about this, since it will affect his campaign and his potential integrity as a leader in Benton County?
Let me answer that, because it's a very fair question, and I told him not to be here to make sure that he didn't have to field questions regarding the investigation. I want it clear before those conversations potentially occurred, or those questions potentially occurred, that he can't answer them. That his lawyers telling him, look, you can talk to the state police, you can cooperate with their investigation, but to get out and address an investigation is going to be problematic. So, very fair question, and that's the reason. I would suppose the next time there's a press conference about the political campaign, that Kelly will be the guy standing out front. But that's why he's not here today.
And when can we next expect to speak to Sheriff Craddock about this investigation or about his campaign in person?
Investigation-wise, when the investigation's over.
Politically wise, in the campaign, we have a lot of different things we're planning right now. We still have some things we need to take care of internally. We'll be publishing a speaking tour, if you will, and of course everyone will be invited to that. And check us out on the Twitter account, Craddock 2016.